Champions, up until now, all the examples we have had were strategic. We activated our pieces, exploited the opponent's weaknesses, traded pieces, etc. Everything we did was only strategically. I aimed to keep it as simple as possible in order to explain the idea of the 7 questions method. However, I have to remind you something very important. Tactic and strategy always go together, hand in hand. Tactic helps the strategy, and the strategy helps the tactic. Remember the cover image of the course? Allow me to explain its symbolism. The 7 stars you can see here represents the 7 questions that will guide you toward finding a plan. And that moon you see? Can you guess what for it is? Alright, it's a tactic. It is everywhere. I hope you have already watched the Tactic Ninja course, so please prepare your swords. We are going to find an answer to one of our 7 questions with the help of the moon, the tactic. The first example. How would you continue here if you are playing with the black pieces? Please pause the video and with the help of 7 questions try to come up with a plan. Alright, let's go through our questions one by one. The first question, what problems does the opponent have? Well, opponent doesn't have any serious problems. The only thing that we can notice is that they have problem with the c4 square. These pawns are on d4 and b4, they cannot retreat, so the c4 is weak. And if any of our pieces, the knight or bishop were there, especially the knight, that would be great. The second question, what problems do we have? Well, here we have a problem with the c file. There is only one open file which belongs to white's rook, and right now we cannot play rook c8 and fight for it. The third question, where I am strong. We are not strong on the queen side or in the king side or in the center, so this question doesn't have an answer here. The fourth question, which of my pieces could be happier? Okay, here we have an answers. The knight is very passive. It is limited with opponent's b4 pawn and e5 pawn. The rook could be happier. There is c open file and our rook doesn't do anything here on the d file. The queen also could be happier. The fifth question, which pieces do I want to trade? Okay, this is our worst piece, so it would be great to exchange it with one of opponent's pieces, but currently we cannot do anything with that. And also we would love to exchange the rooks. If we exchange the rooks, we would solve our problems with the c file. The next question, what is the opponent's next move or plan? Well, probably they will try to invade with the c file. Maybe they will try to play queen c3, queen c7, or they will play rook c3, queen c1, so they will invade to our camp with the rook. The seventh question, how can I advance? We'll come back to it if we cannot find a good plan based on the first 6 questions. However, in this case, 2 of the questions can help us to lead to a good move and to good plans. You can pause the video and think again. Okay, one good move could be queen d7. So if you offer this move, great job. This move answers to the question, what problems do I have? And with this queen d7, rook c8, the next move, you can say, I'm solving my problems. And this is a good plan. If you manage to do that, the problem with the c file is solved. Also, you would exchange your passive rook that looks at the d5 pawn to opponent's active rook that had an open file. If white plays queen c3, next move, not allowing you to play rook c8, then the a4 pawn is undefended, and you can take the pawn. If white invades to our camp, we can quietly come back, and everything is okay. So, this was one of the moves that it's a good plan. However, in this case, we have even a better move. By using tactic, we can transfer to our worst piece, the knight on b7, to its dream square to c4. Can you see how? Alright, if you noticed that the b4 pawn is pinned, and we can play knight a5, great job. White cannot take because they will lose the queen, and they also cannot stop us from playing our next move, knight c4. As a result, what will happen? Our worst piece will become a great piece on c4. we closed our problem of the C file, and we also exploited opponent's weak square on C4. Good one, right? Let's go to the next example. To play with black pieces, how would you continue? Please pause the video and take your time. Okay, let's go through our 7 questions. Question number 1, what problems does the opponent have? Opponent has a backward e3 pawn. These pawns are on f4 and d4, and the e3 pawn is alone. Another problem I have is the e4 square. These pawns cannot cover that square. The next question, what problems do I have? We don't have many problems. The only downside is that the opponent has a bishop pair. Yeah, the c3 bishop is limited with the dark squares. It's not a good bishop, but anyway, white has a potential in the future to open the center. Imagine they play e4, exchange these pawns, then play d5, then these 2 bishops will create problems for us. The third question, which side of the board we are strong? Well, we have a little bit pawn majority on the queen side, 4 against 3, and white has a pawn majority, 4 against our 3 pawns. The next question, which of my pieces could be happier? Obviously, the rook, which stays on the corner of the board. Bishop on c8 is not developed. The queen also could be happier. Knight would be happier on the outpost on e4 or on f5, attacking the e3 weak pawn. So here we will have solutions. We'll come back to that. The question number 5, which pieces do I want to trade? Well, it would be fantastic if we could exchange the light square bishops. Why? Because here white has pawns on the dark squares, they cover the dark squares, and the bishop covers the light squares. The bishop plays on all sides of the board, on the king side, queen side, and our bishop on c8 cannot be that strong because of our fixed central pawn. It cannot play on the long diagonal and not on this diagonal as well. Maximum it can be on d7, and it's much more passive than opponent's bishop. And another reason we want to exchange these bishops is, if we make that, opponent is not going to have any kind of bishop pair advantage. The 6th question, what's the opponent's next move plan? Well, white will try at some point to play e4, get rid of their weak pawn, then play d5 and open the bishop on c3. Or they might attack us on the king side by at some point playing f5 or rook f1, rook f2, maybe somewhere g4 and so on, because on the king side is where they are stronger. And the question number 7 will come back if there is no answer, which happens rarely, especially in the middle games. Now, when we have a little bit better picture of the position, I offer you to pause the video and think again, how would you continue here? Okay. If you addressed the 4th question, which of my pieces could be happier, and offered bishop d7 move, developing the bishop, connecting the rooks, and then you wanted to play rook e7, rook e8, now the rook is not passive, and you target opponent's weak pawn, this is a good plan. If you wanted to play here knight h4, attack the queen, then bring this knight to f5, attacking the e3, then maybe knight d6 and knight e4, this is also a good plan. Because here you would address 2 of the questions, which of my pieces could be happier and what are the problems of the opponent. And from f5 you would attack the e3 pawn, or you would transfer your knight to e4, opponent's problematic central square. However, in this position there is a much stronger move. You can play here bishop f5 and trade the light square bishops with help of tactic. If white takes bishop f5, how do you get back the piece? Yes, by playing knight h4, fork, queen moves somewhere, and you take the f5 bishop back. Now, you traded your bad bishop with opponent's good bishop. The knight comes to f5, attacking the e3 pawn. It can be easily transferred to e4. Or, even better, you can double your rooks, targeting the e3 pawn, even play queen e6, and pressure opponent positionally. So, with help of tactic, there is this bishop f5 move, where you make a good strategical improvement of the position. Let's go to the next example. You play with white pieces, how would you continue? Please pause the video and think. Okay, the material is equal, king safety is equal, but strategically, not everything is equal. Let's go through our 7 questions. The first one, what problems does the opponent have? Opponent doesn't have any serious issues. The only thing we can notice is that they have not very active bishop on e6, limited with their d5 and f7 pawns. The next question, what problems do I have? We also don't have many problems. The only thing is our backward b2 pawn, and here black pressures it. The third question, where I am strong, which side of the board? Well, on the king side here we have 2 against 3, in the center we are equal, but in the queen side we have here 4 pawns against 3. We'll come back to that. Which of my pieces could be happier? Bishop on d3 does okay, but the queen and rook could be happier. The sixth question, what's the opponent's next move or plan? Okay, if you notice that the b2 pawn is undefended, that's good. But if you notice that black cannot take it, it's even better. Why black cannot take the pawn? Well, because we can play rook b1, attack the queen. It's defended with our bishop, and when opponent's queen